Ladies and gentlemen, unmarried. The illusion of control is one of the most pervasive and subtle forces in our lives. From a young age, we are taught to plan, to organize, to strive for success, and to control our environment. We are told that if we work hard enough, make the right choices, and follow the prescribed path, we can secure our future and shape our destiny. But in truth, this belief in control is based on a fragile foundation, one that ignores the unpredictability of life and the vastness of forces beyond our comprehension. Consider the nature of the world around us. Every moment, every interaction, every event is shaped by countless factors, some of which we may never fully understand. Our bodies, for example, are constantly responding to changes in our environment, our emotions and our thoughts, often without our conscious awareness. Our decisions may appear to be the result of deliberate planning, but how often do we make choices without truly knowing why, or act in ways that defy our expectations or intentions? Yet we continue to hold on to the idea that we are in control, that we can steer the course of our lives with the precision of a captain guiding a ship. But life is not a ship on a calm sea. It is a river constantly flowing, shifting and changing in ways we cannot predict. And to insist on control in the face of such uncertainty is like trying to hold the river in place with our bare hands. We are not the masters of the current, we are part of it, carried along by forces far larger than ourselves. The illusion of control also arises from our attachment to outcomes. We imagine that if we can just make the right choices, if we can just execute our plans perfectly, then the future will unfold exactly as we desire. But the future is not a fixed destination, it is an open field of possibilities, shaped by an infinite number of variables, many of which lie beyond our reach or understanding. We cannot control the twists and turns that life will take, nor can we control how the world will respond to our actions. This attachment to control often breeds anxiety and frustration. When things don't go as planned, when the unexpected disrupts our carefully laid out strategies, we feel as though we've lost something essential. But in reality, it is not the loss of control that creates the suffering, it is the attachment to the illusion that we ever had it in the first place. Control, as we often imagine it, is an abstraction, a mental construct we use to try to impose order on the chaos of life. But life itself resists this imposition, continuing on its way regardless of our attempts to manipulate it. True freedom comes not from holding on more tightly, but from letting go of the need to control. It comes from accepting the inherent uncertainty of life, from recognizing that the only true control we have is our response to the present moment. We cannot predict the future, we cannot change the past, but we can choose how we meet each moment, how we engage with the flow of life as it unfolds. The power of now lies in the simple yet profound truth that the present moment is the only reality we ever experience. The past is a memory, a shadow that lives in our minds, and the future is an imagined possibility, a projection of what we think might happen. Yet so much of our energy is spent either reliving what has already passed or anxiously anticipating what is yet to come, leaving us disconnected from the richness of the only time that truly exists, this moment. Most of us live as though we are not here, not fully present in the unfolding now. We might be physically in one place, but our minds are often elsewhere, either lost in thought about something that happened yesterday, or consumed by worry about something that could happen tomorrow. The past and future pull us away from the only thing that truly matters, the now. The result is a kind of inner fragmentation, where our attention is scattered across time and we miss the vitality of what is actually happening. We become disconnected from life itself, as it is unfolding in real time, right in front of us. In the midst of this mental wandering, we forget that the present is not just an interval between the past and the future, it is the ground of existence, the fertile soil from which all experience arises. Every sensation, every feeling, every thought, every perception is experienced in the present. The present is the stage on which the drama of life is played out, and it is the only moment in which we can truly act, experience, or create. The past and future are only ideas, mental constructions. The present, however, is the living, breathing reality we can touch, taste, see, and feel. The paradox is that when we allow ourselves to be fully present, when we truly inhabit the now, we experience a depth of clarity and peace that can never be found in the distractions of time. Time itself becomes irrelevant in this space. It is only when we stop chasing after the past or future that we begin to experience the inherent beauty of what is right in front of us. And yet this beauty is not something outside of us. It is a quality of awareness that arises when we stop clinging to the past or reaching into the future. To truly awaken to the power of now is to recognize that there is nothing more important than what is happening in the present moment. When we stop resisting it, stop trying to manipulate it or avoid it, the moment becomes a gateway to a deeper level of awareness, a more profound connection to life itself. It is in this space that we begin to touch a sense of stillness, a peace that transcends the chaotic noise of our thoughts and the clamor of the world around us. By focusing on the present, we also realize that the future is not something we control or can predict. It is simply a continuation of the present. Similarly, the past is not something we can change, but it is always alive within us in the form of memories, habits, and experiences. The real task is not to attempt to control or manipulate either the past or future, but to accept the present as it is in its full unfolding. This is not to say that we should stop planning, reflecting, or learning from the past. Rather, it is to recognize that when we are not fully present, when our minds are consumed with what was or what could be, we miss the opportunity to fully engage with life. We forget that the essence of life is always here, always now. The art of letting go is a deeply subtle, often misunderstood practice. It is not about resignation or giving up. It is not about passivity or inaction. Letting go is about releasing the grip of attachment, the clinging to thoughts, beliefs, desires, fears, or expectations that no longer serve us. It is the process of untangling ourselves from the mental, emotional, and physical knots we have tied over time, often without even realizing it. At the core of letting go is the realization that attachment is the root of much of our suffering. We become attached to our identities, our possessions, our relationships, our plans, and our ideas of how life should unfold. These attachments create a sense of ownership over what is ultimately fleeting and impermanent. We believe that we are defined by our past, our achievements, or our roles in the world, and yet all of these are constantly changing. To hold on to them too tightly is to resist the natural flow of life and to create friction between what is and what we wish to control. Letting go does not mean rejecting these things or denying their significance. It is an act of acknowledging their place in our lives while simultaneously recognizing that they do not define us. We can love, appreciate, and engage with what we hold dear without clinging to them for our sense of security or self-worth. When we let go of our attachment to them, we free ourselves from the fear that we will lose them or that they will disappear. We open ourselves to a more profound relationship with life, one that is not governed by fear or the desire to possess. The act of letting go also involves recognizing that our thoughts and emotions, though they arise within us, are not who we are. We often identify with our thoughts, believing them to be the truth of our existence. But thoughts are like clouds. They appear and disappear, shape-shifting and fleeting. To hold on to a particular thought or belief is like trying to hold on to a cloud, expecting it to remain the same, to bring us comfort. But clouds, like thoughts, are in constant motion, and to grasp them is to miss the point of their transient beauty. Letting go of identification with our thoughts is the recognition that we are not defined by them, that they are not our essence. This same principle applies to emotions. We often resist uncomfortable emotions, trying to suppress or control them, believing that they should not exist or that they define us. Anger, sadness, fear, these emotions arise as part of the natural human experience. But when we try to force them away, we only give them more power over us. Letting go in this context is not about pushing emotions aside, but about allowing them to flow without interference, to be felt fully without becoming attached to them. It is about accepting that emotions are a passing current. not something we need to hold on to for our sense of self. The deeper we go into the art of letting go, the more we begin to understand that the real act of release is not external, it is internal. The world will continue to unfold, people will come and go, circumstances will change, but it is only through letting go of our internal attachments that we can find peace. The mind, with its constant need to control, to anticipate, to judge, is the greatest source of bondage. To let go is to free the mind from its need to control every situation, to stop trying to predict the future or dwell endlessly on the past. It is to relax into the present moment, to surrender to the flow of life as it is, without resistance. Letting go also means recognizing that we cannot change everything. We cannot control how others behave, how the world operates, or what happens in the grand sweep of history. We may have hopes, desires, and ambitions, but there are many factors outside of our control. To hold on to the idea that we can make everything align with our personal will is to live in constant tension. The true art of letting go is the wisdom to know when to act and when to step back, when to strive and when to allow. In this way, letting go is not an abandonment of action or purpose, rather, it is the freedom to act without attachment to the outcome. It is the ability to engage fully with life, to pursue what we love, to be present with others, without clinging to the need for things to turn out a particular way. It is to dance with the flow of existence, rather than constantly trying to impose our will upon it. Letting go is the recognition that life itself is a great mystery, one that cannot be fully understood or controlled, but only experienced and lived in its fullest expression. Embracing uncertainty is one of the most profound and liberating practices we can adopt in life. We are conditioned to seek certainty, to crave predictability, to yearn for a stable, secure world where we can anticipate what will happen next. From childhood, we are taught that success lies in control, in mastering our environment, in planning for the future. Yet the deeper truth is that uncertainty is the very essence of life. It is the ground upon which all experience is built, the unknown space in which creativity, growth, and transformation can arise. The desire for certainty often comes from a place of fear. We fear what we cannot predict, what lies beyond our control, because it feels dangerous or threatening. The unknown, to our minds, seems like a vast, dark void and abyss of possibility that we feel unprepared to navigate. But in this fear of the unknown, we miss the opportunity to live fully. In our attempt to control the uncontrollable, we end up suffocating the spontaneity of life, distancing ourselves from the richness that uncertainty offers. Uncertainty is not something to fear, but something to embrace. It is the fertile soil from which all new experiences grow. Every moment of our lives is steeped in uncertainty, whether we acknowledge it or not. The fact that we wake up in the morning, breathe, move, interact, all without knowing exactly how the day will unfold, is a testament to the mystery that is woven into every aspect of existence. The truth is, the future is always uncertain, and the past is a memory we can never revisit in the same way. So in a very real sense, life is always uncertain, and the more we resist that fact, the more we separate ourselves from the flow of life itself. When we surrender to uncertainty, we begin to let go of the need to control the outcome of our experiences. We shift from trying to predict or force life into a rigid structure to allowing life to unfold as it will. This shift doesn't mean we stop making plans or setting goals, but it means we stop clinging to them so tightly. It means we open ourselves up to the possibility that things might unfold in ways we didn't expect, and that those unexpected twists might hold more meaning or beauty than we could have planned for ourselves. The more we resist uncertainty, the more we create friction in our lives. We create anxiety, worry, and frustration as we attempt to fit the future into a preordained mold. But when we embrace uncertainty, we find a kind of freedom, a liberation from the need for things to be a certain way. In this freedom, there is a deeper trust that life will reveal itself to us moment by moment. We no longer need to have everything figured out, because we trust in the unfolding process of life itself. Embracing uncertainty also means embracing the unknown aspects of ourselves. We often hold on to rigid self-concepts, ideas of who we are based on past experiences, past mistakes, or past successes. But the truth of who we are is not fixed. It is an ongoing process of becoming. Every moment, every experience holds the potential to reveal something new about us, something we didn't know or understand before. To embrace uncertainty is to be willing to step into the unknown spaces of our own being, to allow for the possibility of change, growth, and transformation. It is to acknowledge that who we were yesterday is not who we have to be today or tomorrow. This willingness to embrace the unknown also frees us from the tyranny of expectations. We often live with the pressure of expectations placed on us by others, by society, or even by our own minds. We think we should have it all figured out, that we should be successful, happy, productive, or fulfilled. But these expectations create a narrow vision of life, one that doesn't leave room for surprise, spontaneity, or the organic unfolding of who we are and what we are meant to do. When we let go of these rigid expectations, we allow ourselves to live more authentically, more in tune with the ebb and flow of life as it comes. To embrace uncertainty is also to trust the process of life. It is to trust that, while we may not know what will happen next, we are always in the right place at the right time. It is to trust that life has its own wisdom, its own rhythm, and that by allowing ourselves to move with it rather than against it, we can access a deeper sense of peace and clarity. We no longer need to control or force things. We can flow with life as it moves, adapting and responding to what arises in the moment. In this dance with uncertainty, we become more open, more fluid, more alive. We are no longer trying to control the outcome of every situation, but instead we meet each moment with openness, curiosity, and receptivity. The more we embrace uncertainty, the more we discover the fullness of life not as something to be figured out or controlled, but as something to be experienced, moment by moment, without fear or resistance. Life becomes not a problem to be solved, but an adventure to be lived. In the end, resetting your life is not about returning to some idealized past or forcing the future into a specific mold. It's about embracing the flow of the present moment with awareness, letting go of attachments that limit us, and stepping into the unknown with openness. True freedom comes from surrendering the illusion of control, trusting in life's unfolding, and allowing uncertainty to guide us. When we release our rigid expectations and align with life's natural rhythm, we unlock the deeper wisdom, creativity, and peace that are always available in the here and now.